Keep it going for Melissa! There you go. Hey. So I learned early in life that goldfish don't have a very long shelf life. I was 6 years old, and David Lucktie was going on vacation, and he was super stoked about that. And he said, will you take care of my fish, Reese's? I was totally honored. So I took care of Reese's, and every day I would go in, and I would scoop Reese's out of his bowl and watch him flip and flop and flip and flop, and I thought he was dancing. I thought it was awesome. And then I'd stick him back in, and then I'd feed him and go away for the next day. And I did this for a couple of days, and he would dance, a little tired each day. And the third day, he was just floating up. And as he's going down the porcelain god funeral with his little orange body, I was like, oh my God, how do I tell David I just axed his fish? Now, 25 years later, my daughter wins a goldfish at the elementary school cakewalk. And she's like, I'm gonna name it Snickers. And I'm like, what's with the candy theme? Okay. And we're walking a whopping block home from the school. And she goes, Mommy, Snickers doesn't look very good. And sure enough, he is floating up in his little Ziploc bag. And as he's floating down his porcelain god funeral, she goes, goodbye, Snickers. It was short but sweet. So then I have Maisie, and she's a little magical thinking kid, and she's seen probably too many Disney movies, and she thinks that death is all cleared up when the prince shows up. And I'm like, this isn't good. She's 6 years old, so how am I going to teach this? I'll get her a goldfish. I'll get her a goldfish. That's my plan. Well, life actually had a little different plan for that. It was December 1st, 2009, and it was about 6:30 in the morning, and the girls were at the breakfast table eating waffles and getting ready to have a perfectly normal day. And I knew what I was going to say next was going to change everyone's lives. Girls, Maddie didn't make it. She died last night in her mother's arms at the hospital. Quincy's head went down. She said nothing. Maisie pops up and she goes, What? How? Why? And it took me off guard. I mean, I don't know what to say. Because I'm like, how? Leukemia. That's how. Maddie was her 8-year-old friend up the cul-de-sac. And she was this golden-haired, blue-eyed, beautiful child with a perfect smile that just loved Skittles and the color purple. And when the community got the news that she was diagnosed with a very aggressive leukemia, it all made sense why her skin was so snow white pale. And we gathered together. We were crumbling over this news, but we gathered together and we would listen to the mother who was now finding herself being a med student and blogging about white blood cell counts. And we'd go to the bus stop and we'd see her dear dad who had to be there because he had 3 other kids. He had to keep things going. And we'd be like, hey, how's it going? And he'd go, you know what, actually yesterday was a great day. She was playing Barbies with her sister at the hospital. We're like, that's awesome. But then some days, she can't keep her food down. Chemo's getting her. But then when the insurance crapped out, we got stronger. Because that was it. We are not going to let this family hurt anymore. We are on this ride together with her and with them. And so we came up with this 24-hour fundraiser where everyone showed up and in droves of family at this soccer arena. And we all wore these purple shirts that said Team Maddie. And we had bouncy houses and we were raising money. And we could see when she was watching from her hospital bed, the little green light, we knew she was watching from her webcam. And she could see us. And she could see the love that we had for her and the fighting that we were doing for her. And then her mom said, well, if she makes it. And I said, there's no if, it's when. So that's the how. But it was the why that I didn't really know how to answer, and I still don't. Why, Maisie? I don't know. Why are there assholes in the world that get to stick around, that are mean to people deliberately, when sweet people just believe in mermaids? Only real ones. So I don't know why. But what I learned was that Maddie, in her short but sweet life, I had planned on it being a goldfish, and instead I got a girl with golden hair who showed us that you just can only live in the now, right? That's it. We're all swimming right now together, and we don't know what our shelf life is. We don't know our expiration date. So all we can do is love and be kind and care for each other and be supportive and believe. Because when it's done, we can only live in another person's heart, and that's what she did. Thank you.